Hello, movie lovers. This is Bob of the North. Yes, the guy from Canada. I'm here to talk about the pick of the month, and I picked it for The Grumpy Old Gentleman in film. So let's talk about it. The Shadow of a Doubt. Shadow of a Doubt. Yes. Joseph Cotten shines as Uncle Charlie, seemingly charming man visiting his relatives in their small and peaceful hometown. But when his namesake niece, young Charlie, Teresa Wright, nice looking young girl, she probably plays the part of a 17-year-old in this, basically, in around that age bracket, suspects that he may in fact be a psychopathic Merry Whittle killer. Uncle Charlie must plot the death of his favorite relation in order to remain one step ahead of the law in this murderous game of cat and mouse. And that's Uncle Charlie. As you know, this movie takes place in the beginning. He's laying in bed in his boarding house, smoking a cigar. It looks like there's two cops outside, detectives, keeping an eye on him. So the landlady comes in and says, there's two men been here knocking on the door looking for you. I told them that you weren't in. Well, that was very nice of you. All right, so the next thing he does is walks out the door. The two detectives follow him, and he kind of like disappears. Right? So then the next thing, he's sending a telegram, yes, to his family, sister, saying that he's on his way, he's going to visit. Of course, his niece, named after him, Charlie, is at the telegram office sending him a telegram. So this seems like there's telepathic stuff going on here, right? It seems that way. Could be a coincidence. So when he left, he just left, right? But when he gets into town and he steps off the train, he has suitcases, and he had enough time to buy new suits, clothes, etc. And he even had time to buy presents for everyone, right? So that was nice of him. Yeah, he even bought a watch for Henry Travis's character. He's playing the dad, right? So he gets a watch, so that's fine. Next thing you know is he gave Charlie, young Charlie, Teresa Wright, a ring. Yeah, he gave her a ring. But he seemed to have forgotten, or he never noticed that the ring was, signed inside to somebody. So she noticed that, and he wants the ring back. No, she keeps the ring. But, so you're thinking right out there, right? It's like, yeah, that's a little odd, right? She thinks it's a little odd. Never thought much of it, but she thinks it's a little odd. Yeah. So now, time goes by, and he's got the newspaper, and he reads in the newspaper about this man killing old ladies for their money. Of course, he rips it out, right? And the little girl kind of says to her, "But that's my dad's paper, and he hasn't read it yet." So even Anne's thinking, the little girl, Anne, right? The little girl thinks there's something odd about Uncle Charlie, right? It's just, she didn't say much about it, but she, you can see that she's thinking of it. So yeah, so now Uncle Charlie, she's wondering, Teresa Wright's character, right? Charlie, is wondering, starts wondering about Uncle Charlie. So now the story gets right involved now, right? There's stuff going on here. She seems to think Uncle Charlie's a little odd, right? There's something's not right about this. So yeah, there isn't something not right about it, right? Because now Uncle Charlie decides that he's gonna kill his niece. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, he's gotta kill her because she knows too friggin' much. So the plot is, how does he go about, or what becomes of the idea that he's gonna kill his niece? Come on. He's with his family in a little small town in America. Right? It's a lovely little place. Who wouldn't want to stay there and hide out from the law? Anyway, two guys show up knocking on the door, right? They want to take, talk to the homeowners of what's it like living in a small town area and your house and neighbors. So, right, so Uncle Charlie finds this out and he tells them he doesn't want anything to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Why are you letting these people into this house? So, they show up, right, and they want to take a picture of Uncle Charlie. Of course, he says, no, right, that ain't going to happen. So, yeah, now it's starting to get a little, what's that word? Interesting now, right? So, the plot is basically the same, what I just said, I should say. And this movie has what I call a beginning, a middle, and the end, of course. Now, these movies that I call the beginning, the middle, and the end are very simple movies to watch. A plot line is there, it's right in front of your face. Even when you're 12 years old, you can understand what's going on here. What's going on here? Charlie, young Charlie, Teresa Wright, knows that Uncle Charlie is the guy that killed these ladies, right? These women, right? So she wants him to leave. That's the whole idea. She doesn't want him around anymore. She's told him, you have to leave. So there's the plot of the movie. Now, I watched this movie, oh, jeez, I don't know how many times over the years. Numerous times. Of all the Alfred Hitchcock movies, this is my favorite, I guess. This is my go-to Hitchcock movie. Although I like Rear Window, that's probably number 2. Lifeboat is probably number 3, just because of the area that they're in. They're sitting in a lifeboat and chatting to each other. How simple is that movie, right? So, but this one, I gave this one an 8. This movie, Shadow of a Doubt, gets a big 8. Yeah, Teresa Wright, I think she's made 3 or 4 movies. I could be wrong, but I think she made 3 or 4 movies by the time she made this one. Like I said, I could be wrong. And this stars Joseph Cotten. Joseph Cotten had made a few movies before this one too. He made a movie with The Man in the Cloak with Barbara Stanwyck, and didn't he make a movie? Was it The Magnificent Ambersons? I can't remember. Is that the name of it? Yeah. Then he was also in Citizen Kane, right? I think Citizen Kane might have been his first movie. But then again, correct me if I'm wrong. And MacDonald Carey is one of the policemen, right? Now MacDonald Carey talks to Teresa Wright, young Charlie, right? And this is the only part of the movie that kind of like flounders to me. I always notice these things, but yeah, this detective MacDonald Carey kind of like falls in love with Teresa Wright in a day or two, right, and stuff like that, and then he wants to get married and all that stuff. And I found that line, that little bit of line, which is a little confusing, right? That they got time to fall in love with each other in a day or two. I mean, this all happens in a few days. We're not talking months or, such a long time to say, I fall in love with each other. So I never was too crazy over that part. I think there is, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a few movies in Alfred Hitchcock type movies, right, that they fall in love in a day or two. I don't know about that. I never was too thrilled over that, but yeah. So MacDonald Carey plays the detective. Yeah, and Henry Travis, of course, he's in it as her dad, right? And Hume Crone is the next door neighbor that talks to Henry Travis's character about killing each other, killing each other over mushrooms or poisoned mushrooms or hitting each other over the head with a crowbar and stuff. So I found that those two talking about killing each other, how you can kill each other, was funny, right? The part of this storyline that turned around, put a little humor into a movie, that's serious movie where, Joseph Cotton's trying to kill his niece. That took part, And the little boy, there's a little boy in there. Nobody mentions the little boy, the brother, right? but he's in it. But he doesn't do much. He really doesn't do much, right? He's there standing around with a gun on his hip, a little toy gun, right? So that he doesn't really do anything. But yeah, so that's yeah, Shadow of a Doubt, my #1 movie of Alfred Hitchcock. Even though #2 could be Rear Window, but I hope you enjoyed that. And that was for the Grumpy Old Gentleman on film. And it's good to say hello to Harry and Ian and Mike. Call him Mikey. And the new guy, right? So, and everybody knows who they are. Rick, yes, Rick Leaves. Hello, Rick Leaves. And who did I say? Ian, yes, I said Ian. Who else? Harry, did I mention Harry? He's a grumpy old gentleman. Yeah, and Mike, I said everybody. James retired for a while, but I do hope James is able to come back. Good luck in your life, James, if you're watching this video. Okay, so yeah, I want you to all stay safe and keep watching those movies. All right, and that's from Bob of the North. I'll talk to you later. Have a good week.